Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Whovian Theory. I'm your local Whovian, and let's get right into it. So, this week we have a ranking the doctors list instead of a theory. So I figured, since I'm kind of sort of slowly transitioning this channel into like mainly a Doctor Who channel because I really like making these videos, I thought, well, what's a better way to start that off than making some more of this content Doctor Who. So here we have a Whovian Theory ranking of the doctors. Now this is my opinion, and I will say this on each pick, that some of these are because I have not seen enough of these doctors to judge them fairly. So I put them lower on the list because that way, because I almost thought maybe I shouldn't make this video, and the reason why is that right there, because I thought maybe I would be a problem, maybe I won't be truly able to judge, and then I found out it was really only a couple I hadn't seen enough of to really get the feel for. So we'll get into that in a second, but yeah, I figure it's a good time to start as any, so let's get into it. Alright, so at number 13, I have the First Doctor, and I think a lot of people do this with their lists anyway. I don't think most people that are doing this, except for obviously people that have been watching Doctor Who for the better part of 50 years, have seen most of these episodes. I mean, and granted, for the time, the First Doctor's run was amazing, but ranking it fairly with the others in there is just not possible when I have to take into account what I've seen. So the First Doctor is taking up spot number 13. Coming in at number 12, we have the Sixth Doctor. Now, this is actually not due to any sort of, like, it's not like that I don't like the Sixth Doctor because I haven't seen him much. I've actually seen a little bit, enough footage to get a feel for the character, and I just don't like this version of the Doctor. I think he's too zany, I think he's too overconfident, and granted, those are traits that are a part of every Doctor, but I feel like they should be parts of the character that shine through as a Doctor, not over the top in a way that tries to be unique, but is just a version of the Doctor that's more like some of his other traits. And again, like I said, each Doctor is going to have more traits that are accentuated than others, but I just don't think it works, and maybe it did at the time, maybe people wanted something different, having just come off of the era of the Fifth Doctor, but I still want to say that I'm still not really on board with this Doctor at the end of the day. Fully anyway. I mean, now I can see why people like this Doctor. There's reasons why people like some Doctors and some that people don't like others for, so I understand why people believe what they believe, but I'm going to choose to have my opinion, and until I see a lot of footage of this Doctor, maybe I'll fall in love, maybe it's one of those things, but anyway, next one. And at number 11, we have the Eighth Doctor, and this one's actually going to be a fairly quick one. This one's because I've straight up not seen the TV movie. I've seen the Night of the Doctor short, but I don't think that really tells me, and what I hear from others is that it's not really the same as he was in the movie. I mean, he's the same character and he's the same Doctor and he portrays it the same way, but it's not like watching the movie, so I don't really have a feel for the Eighth Doctor, and so I'm not going to put him higher on this list because that would be like me acting like, oh, so because I don't know these guys, I should rank them higher. I have reasons, legitimate reasons for liking the other Doctors that are higher on this list, so I will give my reasons, but this, for right now, is because I haven't seen the TV movie, so on to the next one. Coming in at number 10, we have the Seventh Doctor. This is another plain and simple, haven't seen this one, although for being the last Doctor to be on TV before the TV movie and stuff, I have to give him respect, so I put him above the other ones that I didn't see enough of to get the character. So, at number 10, we have the 7th Doctor. Moving on. Coming in at number 9, we have The War Doctor by John Hurt. I didn't list off the actors on everyone. I'll have them on screen, and I'll also have pictures of the doctors on screen, so it won't really make much of a difference. But here we are with The War Doctor. Now, a lot of people have ranked The War Doctor a little higher than this, I feel like. For me, it's just he doesn't have enough content. I'm not sure if he's done Big Finish stuff. If he has, I may look into that. But right now, currently sitting, I mean, he's still one of my favorite doctors. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want to rank him higher than some of these other doctors, though, because some of them are just phenomenal, especially for the time that they were portraying the Doctor in. Granted, I probably could justify putting him above another Doctor on this list, and I may comment on that Doctor, mainly because of the fact that he bridges more of a gap than that Doctor does, but I decided to not go that way because at the end of the day, if we had more time with the War Doctor, I probably would have him higher on this list for sure, but we don't, so here we are. Coming in at number 8, we have the 5th Doctor, and the reason why I put the 5th Doctor at number 8 is because he's one of my favorite Doctors, and I could not justify putting the War Doctor above him. You know, and it hurts me to put him this low on the list because, you know, there's so many, like the rest of this list down from 8, you could rank them any other way, and I would still be like, yeah, that's a pretty good list, because they are just all phenomenal, and they all emphasize who the Doctor is as a character, not just in their actions that are separate, but more accentuated, you know, personality types that they all had. But I think that they all brought to the character the things that had been there before, which has got to be impossible to teach somebody as the previous actor when you have, one day of shooting together where the regeneration scene happens, assuming you even both get brought in on the same day to film that, because you didn't necessarily need to. So, yeah, I don't know. It just impresses me as a student of the game in the film media production industry. So, we will move on to number 7. At number 7, we have the 3rd Doctor. I put the 3rd Doctor here because, you know, despite all the judo moves and all that stuff, I think a Doctor bound from using the TARDIS and being told this is what you're doing. I also love Unit. I love every time they bring Unit back. It's one of my favorite Doctors because even Planet of the Spiders for me is one of my favorite. I mean, it's just, there's so many great episodes. I don't even want to go into them all because it'd just be like being a fanboy of a certain Doctor. But at number 7, we have the 3rd Doctor because he is awesome. At number 6, we have the 2nd Doctor, and again, one of my favorite Doctors. There's a lot of reasons for this guy being on this part of the list. I mean, come on. Who walks around with a recorder and just saves the world? I mean, come on. Sonic Screwdriver is cool. That recorder will live with me forever. I mean, that's something that there are a few other Doctors, save for maybe Peter Capaldi with the Sonic Shades, that have a custom way of saving people. That's not just another Sonic gift from God. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Sonic Screwdriver, but there are better ways. I prefer when the Doctor is without a Sonic for a little bit, because I think it shows what lengths a Doctor is willing to go to survive and to save a planet and what have you. So, with that being said, I couldn't not, and that's not the only reason. I mean, I just really love this Doctor, and I don't feel like I need to justify it any more than that. At number 5, we have the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. Oh my man, this was a great run, and probably one of the most disappointing non-continuous of a run. I think that's I don't think that's really ever happened, other than if you consider the TV movie, which was supposed to launch into a whole new series. But I mean, there's just so many great things, and there's so many great side companions. Not Adam. I mean, you have Captain Jack that came in this Doctor. You have Rose, who, yes, is debatably whether or not she's a good companion, but I still think Rose is great. I mean, and for the first time, you see the Doctor angry all the time, and you can't see it on his face. He's, a jolly northerner, but he's very angry, and you can tell, like, when the Daleks are and granted, it makes sense with what the War Doctor was left with after he regenerated. He wouldn't have known anything about what had happened, that he tried to save Gallifrey instead of free them, and instead of burn them. Sorry, free them. What am I talking about? And so I put him at number 5. I know that seems kind of a leap because he didn't get that long of a run, and I know I said that was part of my criteria. But for the length of run that he had, I think it outweighs the amount that he got done in that time was enough for me to say that he deserves the number 5 spot. At number 4, we have David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. Now, the only reason he's ahead of Christopher Eccleston here is because he had a way longer run. I mean, and his run was great, but he's not as good as the top 3 spots on this list, in my opinion. He did not leave, I don't think, as much of an impact as we thought he would. I think we all thought that this Doctor would be way more important to us in the long run, and then we got Matt Smith, and then we got Peter Capaldi, so they're higher on this list. But if you've noticed, someone else is on this list that's a little bit higher, and we'll get into that at number 2. But yeah, let's move on to number 3. Top 3 now, and at number 3 we have the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith. I love the 11th Doctor. I love River's song. I love Amy. I love Rory. I love Clara's first parts. I love Clara in general, but I love Clara's first parts especially because it's so mysterious when we first get to see her. The 11th Doctor personifies for me what an alien Doctor feels like. I know a lot of people think he's goofy. I know a lot of people think he's quirky, and that's just Matt Smith. I think that's just Matt Smith in general. But the guy is the Doctor. I mean, unequivocally. And the same ways that the Doctor's been weird before, like another person on this list at number 2, this is the Doctor at his weirdest, and I think that he needed that after his, they call it his grunge phase in the Day of the Doctor. I think that was what we needed after the horrible sadness that came with David Tennant's run. I think Matt Smith did an amazing job with the role, and I'm excited to see who we can get like this in the future, because I don't think it'll ever happen. But it might. I mean, hey, no one ever said we'd have a weirder Doctor than insert Doctor here, whoever you think is the weirdest, So, yeah, moving on. At number 2, we have probably, on the list, my second favorite, but probably my favorite overall Doctor just to watch, the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker. I just love this Doctor. There's so many reasons why. It's off the wall crazy to say that this is what the Doctor should be, but I just think that. I think the Doctor should always be like the 4th Doctor. I feel like some of these Doctors should rub off on the Doctor himself for the rest of the time. I think some of these faces should stick with him. I mean, yeah, they make little inside, jokes and whatever, but I want them to actually take parts of the characters and be like, hey, maybe you can act it this way. And I know you have to give these people a lot of leeway that play the Doctor and not as much direction as you would think, I would assume, the way that the performances come out. But in my opinion, we should always have a little bit of the Fourth Doctor there. The "do I have the right" question gets me every time, and I just think the scene where he asks Davros if he would basically end all life, would he? And he said yes. Not the Doctor, obviously Davros, but it's just a great scene. And yeah, so who is left that I haven't said? You already all know who it is, so let's get into it. And at number 1, we have the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. Where do I even begin? Peter Capaldi is, quite frankly, gone. Okay, so let's go back to what I was saying on the last one about wanting to have parts of the Fourth Doctor continue to be part of the Doctor. I think Peter Capaldi nails that. I think they are very similar, not in performance, but in the way that they look at the world. And that's funny because I don't think the Fourth Doctor is generally considered an angry Doctor. At times, obviously, the Doctor goes through different emotions at different times depending on the situation, but in this, I think Peter Capaldi has so many great episodes, so many. Dark Water and Death in Heaven. You have Heaven Sent. You have all these amazing episodes. And on top of that, you have the added benefit of still having Clara around. And I know a lot of people started to not like Clara around here, and I guess I understand why to a point, but I still think that dynamic of the Doctor and Clara, and even Bill and Nardole later, is just great. I mean, I can almost find nothing bad to say about Peter Capaldi's delivery, other than maybe tone it down a little bit sometimes, because you sound like a little scary sometimes, the way that the Doctor talks. But I guess that's part of the character, so I can't really knock him for that either. Okay, yeah, I'm finding ways to debunk my own arguments against my favorite Doctor. Anyway, this has been my ranking the Doctors. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, let me know. And if you disagree with my list and want to show me yours, put it in the comment section. Remember to rate this video, give it a like, and make sure you hit the bell when you know I get a video up. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.